that's our portion, guys. And it smells so good. I can't wait to dig in. Здоровья. Приятного аппетита. Hi guys, and welcome to Around the World at Ksenia's Table. I'm Ksenia, and I'm the blogger behind At the Immigrant's Table, which is a blog focused on healthy, beautiful international recipes adapted for adventurous home cooks. This series, where we meet regularly, is a chance to explore the cuisine of different countries and really kind of learn more about those countries through their kitchens. In today's episode, we're going to go to a country that's neighboring to where I was born, and that's Uzbekistan. I personally have never been to Uzbekistan, no matter how much I wanted to, but it's a major part of the former Soviet Union, and the cuisine of Uzbekistan has really shaped the cuisine of the region in a lot of ways, and some Uzbek dishes stay with my family to this day. So I'm gonna walk you through those dishes, and hopefully you guys can learn a little bit about the cuisine of Uzbekistan through this episode. So join me, and let's get cooking. So for our journey to Uzbekistan, we're gonna cook two of my favorite dishes, which is Chicken Plov and Achichuk or Achichuk tomato and onion salad. The pronunciation varies based on what area you're from, but we're gonna call it Achichuk, which is how my family calls it. And that's really a salad of tomatoes, onions, and a little bit of cucumbers with a lot of herbs, and we'll get to that. But first, we're gonna get started with the plov. Now, I have a lot of plov recipes. My family loves plov. The most typical plov that people know is Uzbek plov, but it's usually made with sheep or with beef. My family makes it with chicken or vegetarian. So I have my grandmother's vegetarian version up on the blog, and today we're gonna cook the chicken version, which I learned through a friend while cooking for New Year's. So this is a typical dish that a lot of families will make for New Year's, for Russian New Year's, Russian Novy God. Families will make it for all sorts of festivities. I make it every single year for New Year's. It's the same recipe. My family loves it. It's usually one of the first dishes that goes, and I really wanted to share it with you. So it starts with rice that has been pre-washed. I'm using basmati rice, but you can use any long grain rice that you like. Don't use short grain rice because it cooks a little faster and it's not gonna give you that depth of flavor. So you really wanna rinse your rice until the water runs clear. What you're doing there is you're washing off a lot of the starch from the rice, and you're kind of keeping it from sticking to each other. So my rice has already been rinsed, washed, and now it's been put here. So the other secret to proper plov is having a really heavy cooking dish. Now I'm using a big cast iron, enameled cast iron pot, depends on how you want to call it. But for plov actually traditionally comes cooked in its specialty dish. I don't happen to have it. It's also made out of cast iron, but it tends to be, if you want it, you need to really usually go to Uzbekistan and buy the dish. A lot of families have brought it back with them, and it's a family heirloom. I'm just using a big cast iron pan, and you guys can do the same. Just make sure it has a lid. So why this is important is because you don't want something with a thin bottom that's gonna burn your rice. You really want something that's gonna let your meat cook and then your rice cook without it burning and really create a steam effect. So once you have your proper pot, we're gonna add some oil to it. And you really want about 2 to 3 tablespoons, up to you. My apologies. So we're gonna add our oil, and you really want about just under 1/4 of a cup of oil. And you can use vegetable oil, anyone that you like. I'm using a mix of olive oil and grapeseed oil, and that's gonna be the bottom. Now, on top of that, we're going to put our chicken, but first we need to bring it to a bit of heat. we're gonna set our heat to medium-high heat, and then we're going to add our chicken. Thank you. Now, I love making this recipe with a whole chicken that you just break down into pieces. It's the most economical way you can make it. Buy a chicken, cut it up, and really you can put everything in there. You don't have to eat every piece, but it's all gonna flavor your plov. For special occasions, for holidays, I usually will just buy some kind of bone-in. So these are bone-in breasts. Bone-in thighs. So you can do bone-in breasts, you can do bone-in thighs, you can do drumsticks. You really want something with bone. Do not go for boneless, as it will not give you good flavor. We're gonna take our bone-in chicken thighs and we're gonna add them to our pan. And we wanna put it skin down, just so we can help it brown a little bit. And we're gonna set it to brown for a few minutes. And I'll let you guys take a break. I'm gonna take a tea break, and then we're gonna keep cooking once they've browned. So don't go too far. Hi guys, so our chicken is now browning. It's been browning for about 3 minutes. And what we're going to do is we're going to add some onion to it. So once the chicken is fully browned on one side, we're gonna flip it over to the other, and we're gonna add the onion. You can do it by cooking the onion first and then adding the chicken, but I really am going for a brown effect on the chicken, so I started with the chicken first. You wanna remove your onion peels. Now, I usually you want a lot of onion flavor because it's really gonna, the flavor of the sauteed onion is one of the most important parts. I have very small onions, so I'm using 3. You can use 2 large onions, but don't skimp on the onion. It's a good thing, okay? I know that people have all sorts of misconceptions about onion and garlic flavor, and I always used to joke that I could never date somebody that doesn't like the taste of onion and garlic. And happily, my husband does, so we're okay. But if he didn't, we probably wouldn't have been dating, because I love onion and garlic. He does not, however, like lemon, and I love lemon, so that is a problem, because I want to put lemon in everything. So our chicken is ready to be turned. We're gonna turn it. I know. Pausa. Okay. So now that our chicken has been turned, we're going to add our onions. And depending on the size of your onion, you want to cut them to about 1 inch. I cut them to about 1 inch. Sorry, I lost this onion. And I don't want to cut myself. I'm already covered in cuts. So you want to cut them to about 1/2 inch to 1 inch in size. If your onion is bigger, of course, that's gonna require more dicing. Okay. Yeah. So now that our onion has been cut, we're gonna add this to our chicken. We're gonna get rid of the trash. So now that our onion has been cut, we're gonna add this to our chicken. And we're gonna mix it a little bit together. So So now that our onions and chicken are in the pot, we're gonna grate some carrots. And so you can julienne your carrot or you can grate it. I'm going to actually peel my carrots for this just because with grating, it's not the most pleasant mouthfeel to get a lot of peel. I usually opt when I'm dicing my carrots, I don't worry about peeling them, but I tend to, when I'm shredding, for some reason, I actually prefer to peel them. I don't have an explanation, it makes no sense, but I prefer it for the mouthfeel. I find that it's better when they're shredded. Now again, you can julienne your carrots, you can even cut them, but my favorite way for this is to grate them or shred them, as I find that really flavors the rice in the best way. That's kind of how my grandmother cooks her vegetarian plov, and I've adopted the same thing for the chicken plov. So a lot of people from the former Soviet Union will use a spice mix to flavor their plov. We're not gonna do that. I'm actually gonna show you some of the flavorings that you need to really get good plov. But there's certain things like khmeli suneli is a typical one that's used a lot in Georgian, and some people add that to plov. We're not gonna do that. We're gonna go for barberries and a mix of typical spices. So we're gonna shred our carrots, and then when it's all shredded, we're gonna add that to the pot. So come back to me when it's shredded. Take a bit of a tea break if you need it. So our carrots have been grated, and we're gonna add them to our chicken and onion. You're gonna come with me, chicken and onion mix. And if it looks like there's a lot of carrots, that's because, like I said, it's really one of the big flavoring blocks that I learned from my grandmother for plov, and it's all gonna cook down. So you don't have to worry. You don't have to worry about it. It's not too much carrots. It's gonna be good. So now that our carrots have been added, we're going to add the spices. And like I said, this is really the base of flavors in plov. So I'm gonna show you guys my spice mix. And it's really, you can come closer. And this is really what flavors plov. You have bay leaves. I use about 4 whole bay leaves. You have a little bit of chili. This is not mandatory, but I like the depth of flavor that it adds. You have cumin, you have turmeric, and the most important component of plov is the barberries. Don't skip the barberries. They give a bit of a sour flavor. Now, almost every week, I get somebody commenting on the plov recipe and asking what can they use instead of barberries if you don't have barberries. We're gonna add that. So about every week, somebody asks me, what can you add to plov if you don't have barberries? And the answer is that you can add goji berries. They're a little similar. Or push comes to shove, you can use cranberries, but really try to go for unsweetened cranberries. It's not really gonna be the same if you try and use commercial sweet cranberries. The flavor will be different. If you do that, if you're going with cranberries, you need to add a bit of lemon at the end, because barberries give it a bit of a sour taste, and you don't want to miss that, which is why I'm saying goji berries is a good replacement. So now, we're also gonna add about a tablespoon of salt. Bring you in so you could smell what's happening now. I wish you guys could smell what's happening in my kitchen right now. It's such a good smell, and I really wish I could just bring you in. So now that all of our spices and the carrots are in the pot, we're going to add water. And we're gonna add about 2 cups of water. Just to get it started. And with the water in, we're gonna cover our pot and let it simmer for about 10 minutes. And after 10 minutes, you guys are gonna come back and we're gonna keep cooking. But this is gonna create a bit of a parboil effect, and we're gonna let the carrots and all the flavors mix in together and mingle. So come back in about 10 minutes.
Давай, открывай. Так, а теперь...
Ну, скажи мне, как там. Hi, welcome back. So we've been cooking our chicken and veggies with all the spices for about 10 minutes. Give me a chance to have some tea. And now we're ready to add in our rice. So this is actually a very important step. We're gonna add in our rice, but we're not gonna mix it at all. The reason that we add in the rice without mixing is because we don't want to create starch. Starch develops in rice the moment you start to mix it with everything, and we don't want to do that. The only thing that you can do is just spread it a little bit so that all your rice is submerged. But again, don't mix because we don't want the rice to also sink to the bottom. We want the rice to cook over top. Now that we've added in our rice, if it's not enough, if there's still some rice that's uncovered, you want to add a bit of water. So you just want to add enough water to really make sure the rice is submerged. And don't worry, all this water is going to cook down. And then comes a very important stage in plov making, which is adding our garlic. So now, you really want to try and nestle the garlic head as much as possible. And again, if that means some of your rice floats up, you add a bit more water. So we're gonna add a bit more water to our rice, again, to ensure everything is submerged. And we're going to cover it, and we're gonna let it cook. And this is really like a question of, we're gonna cook it on the lowest heat now for about 15 minutes. After 15 minutes, we're gonna give it a bit of a stir. It's gonna be like really clockwise. You're just gonna mix the rice a little bit in a very fluid motion. Think of it like when you're folding in when you're floating in egg whites into flour, like that sort of effect, like when you're folding in batter that has a lot of volume. So but first we're gonna let it cook for about 15 minutes on the absolute lowest setting with the lid on, and then you'll come back to us and we're gonna do the stirring mixing motion. Welcome back. So we have our rice cooking for about 15 minutes now, but I figured this is a good time to get started on our salad. So this is a salad that's traditionally served with plov. Whenever you eat plov, you will eat the salad. It's really kind of an onion tomato salad, but I also like to add a little bit of cucumber to it. You can skip that. The three most important ingredients are really the onion, the tomatoes, and the fresh herbs. And here I have a mix of herbs from my garden. I have cilantro, not from my garden, and then I have a little bit of dill, a little bit of parsley. What else do we have here? And a bit of mint. Whatever herbs you have, use them all. This is really what's gonna flavor the salad, but we're gonna keep them till the end. Put them to the side. Now, the other building blocks are, like I said, onion, tomato, and cucumber. So we're gonna start with our with our tomatoes. And you can, for Achichuk salad, you can either do the tomatoes in slices, or you can do them in pieces, in triangles, in wedges, my God. So you can either cut your tomatoes in slices or in wedges. I'm gonna go for the wedges because I like how they maintain their shape. I find that slices with tomatoes have a tendency to lose their juice and really fall apart. So I like to keep the salad again, with a bit more personality, so I stick to wedges. And the reason that the salad is traditionally served with plov is because you really want something crisp, something refreshing to break through all the really savory, rich flavors that we're gonna get from plov. And we're going to add this to break it. So if you are from somewhere else in the globe and you're thinking plov, that sounds a lot like biryani or pilaf or pilau, you are right. So what happened in Uzbekistan is that it's a region that received a lot of influences from the East and from Asia. And those kind of influences mixed with the local cuisine of what used to be the Russian continent, and what you get is a very unique type of cuisine that is heavy in spices, that is very similar to Indian cuisine, similar to Pakistani cuisine, similar in some ways to my brain is blanking. Yeah. So really, Indian, Pakistani, Kashmiri cuisine, you have a lot of influences here that made their way to Uzbekistan. And so just like the plov is going to be an amalgamation of kind of more Russian ingredients, Russian former Soviet ingredients that you can find locally, and some of these heavy spice influences from Asia. So the salad is going to be similar to how you would break biryani with raita. How you would break a pilaf, you would always serve it with a bit of yogurt sauce or onion sauce, just something, a salad of onion, just to add a little bit of a refreshing tone. So we cut our tomatoes into wedges. We're gonna add our onion. And now with the onion, you really wanna try and cut it as thinly as possible because you don't want a big mouthful of onion. What you want the onions to do, like the herbs, is really to just provide a contrast. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep my onion on one side, keep it like connected on one side, and I'm gonna go in and make really thin And now that I've got into the half, I'll cut off the end. And I'm gonna add really thin slivers of onion that are gonna mix with the rest of the veggies and provide just a little burst of freshness. So like I said, we leave the onion whole on one side. Okay. So that's really the building blocks of this salad. And now I also like to add a little bit of cucumber. You don't fully have to do it, but I find that it adds a really nice burst of flavor. So we're gonna transfer our tomatoes and onions to our bowl. And we're using the same bowl in which they were stored. Okay. I'm gonna mix it in a little bit, very gently. I actually like to use my hand for this because it enables you to prevent from breaking any. And then we're going to take our cucumber and add that. And again, the cucumber can be chopped a little bit more roughly than the onion, but I still don't like it as thick as the tomatoes. I try to go for still kind of thin slivers because I like that burst of fresh flavor, but I don't want a mouthful of cucumber necessarily. But again, that's a preference. You can cut your cucumber a bit more thickly, and that's perfectly fine. Now, we use this kind of principle of flavoring with onion in a few more dishes in the former Soviet kitchen that are very influenced by Uzbek cuisine. My family also makes shashlik with nothing but chicken, onion flavor, and a little bit of spice. We like to use sumac in my family, but there's probably other things. But really, it's a lot of onion that you let the chicken marinate with, and the onion flavors everything. So similar to this, gonna give this a bit of a stir. And then we're gonna take our herbs. We're just gonna chop them up. trying to chop them up. And then we're gonna add these herbs to our salad. And that's really it. I'm not actually gonna mix the herbs in until it's time to serve. The only thing I'm going to do at this point is to season it with salt and to add a bit of lemon juice. And how much lemon is really your choice. I have this half a lemon here. Now I'm gonna do it over my hand so I can catch any errant lemon pieces. Okay. And then I like more lemon, so I'm gonna add another half a lemon. But usually you want half a lemon to 1 lemon. Remember that the salad needs to be sharp. You want this to be a nice contrast to the very rich, flavorful, well-seasoned plov. So don't be afraid to season it. And the other component we're gonna have is a bit of salt. Now, traditionally, you wouldn't necessarily add a pepper to this. Just gonna give it a stir. And that's it. I'm not mixing this up any more than that until I'm actually ready to serve it. And that's our Achichuk salad. That's, here, you can come closer. And this is our Achichuk salad. Yeah. I think you've seen the salad enough. So now we're gonna check on our rice again, but first I'm gonna wash my hands. Okay. So now that we've made our salad, we're gonna check on our rice and we're gonna give it a stir because it's been about 15 minutes. So come with me. And as you can see, the rice really took in water. At this point, you want to just gently do this. You do not want to stir it too fine. What I want is to shove my garlic back in here. And then we're going to cover this up again. Keep this on low heat, and we're gonna let this keep cooking. And you're gonna wanna cook this for really anywhere for about 45 minutes because you want the chicken to cook fully, you want the rice to cook fully, and then when it's done, it's gonna be time to serve. So take a bit of a break, get yourself a cup of tea. If you're cooking your plov, wait for that to be done, and we'll convene here when it's ready. See you soon. Okay, so the moment of truth, our plov is ready. We're gonna bring it here. And keep in mind that the plov dish is gonna be hot and heavy, so you wanna protect your hands. And we're gonna bring it here. Oh, you hear the bottom interacting with our cutting board. Okay, and we're gonna open it up. Oh, look at this beauty. Look at how well this rice is cooked. Perfect individual grains. I'm gonna show you. Really, if you could come zoom in, come look at these grains. Each grain separate, no gumminess, no mushy rice. So what we wanna do when the plov is cooked, oh, there's my tea heating up. So what we wanna do when the plov is cooked is you wanna give it a stir. Again, to prevent kind of that gumminess from occurring. It's like fluffing your rice with a fork. And then we're gonna pull out some chicken. Gonna put it on top. Now, some people will try and invert the plov. I'm not doing anything that crazy. I'm just going to pull out our chicken, leave the rice at the bottom, give everything a nice stir. And then what you can do with the garlic when it's cooled down is that you can take the individual garlic cloves and push them out with a spoon or a fork or a knife. And then when you push it out, you mix in the garlic with either your individual portion or overall into the total plov. And you get this nice caramelized garlic. Now, I'm not gonna do this right now because it's very hot, but it's really gonna be just a question of taking one of these garlics and pushing on it with a spoon, and you see it comes out perfect. Now, I like to put anywhere between 1 to 3 heads of garlic, and it's really gonna flavor the whole thing. Whoop, got a little bit of hot. Okay, so our plov is ready. We're gonna serve ourselves a little plateful. We're gonna serve ourselves, here, come closer, guys. So we're gonna serve a little bit of rice. You wanna try and get it, all the flavor from the bottom. That. Then we're gonna take one chicken piece. Again, I'm making us a small serving of plov, so so I didn't cook a ton of chicken, but you can add, if you're breaking down a whole chicken, you're gonna have a lot. And then what we're going to do is we're gonna take, hold on. And then what we're going to do is we're gonna take some of our salad and we're gonna put it on the side of our plate. So we're gonna take some of our salads, put it on our plate, and that's our portion, guys. And it smells so good. I can't wait to dig in. Здоровья. Приятного аппетита. Perfect combination of the lemony, herby salad with the well-seasoned, unctuous rice. It's so juicy. The chicken, we're gonna get, the chicken. You can't see it. Can't see it, but the chicken is perfectly cooked. I'll let you guys have a close-up in a moment. The chicken is perfectly cooked. It just comes together, comes apart. And the longer you let it cook, the juicier the chicken becomes. So it's really like a perfect little bite of everything together. Yeah. So you can really shred your chicken. It's hard to do when you're holding it. No? So you can shred your chicken and mix a bit of chicken with the rice and get some salad, and you really have got yourself the perfect bite. And a bit of barberry. So from my table to yours, don't forget to subscribe, to like, to leave comments. Really important. It's a new show. We're a brand new, well, not brand new, but we're a small channel. So don't forget to subscribe. Hit that like button around the world at Ksenia's table so we can come back to you in next episode. Thank you and see you soon. So good.